Any objections to starting? Say so now, or forever hold your peace.
I mean, I'm eating a sandwich, but it's up to you.
Eating it. What kind of sandwich are you eating?
Triple bologna, double cheese.
That doesn't sound as good.
Triple bologna, double... Like, is the cheese between the 3 different pieces of bologna? Because then I don't know if I would like it.
You say obviously, but the first thought that came to mind was just 3 stacks of bologna and then 2 stacks of cheese.
I would prefer the sandwich that way.
Really?
Well,
Really?
When I...
You gotta layer it up, man.
When I eat my sandwich...
Space it out.
This is good podcast material.
The meat always has to be on the bottom, and the cheese always has to be on the top.
Oh my god, I'm the same way!
Because when you go to bite into it, your tongue breaks through the bread, and it touches the meat first. If it touches the cheese, it's just wrong. It doesn't taste as good.
The palate. It doesn't taste right. Oh my god, I've always been told I was so weird for this.
You're not. See, that's also part of the reason why the lettuce has to go above the meat as well, because the lettuce is there for the crunch and a little bit of the after taste. And it's
now. Does the mayonnaise have to touch the meat and the mustard touch the cheese?
Does the what?
If there were 3 pieces
Does
of
the
cheese,
mayonnaise have to be under the meat and mustard above the cheese?
Yes.
Yes.
I had to think there for a second. I don't
have
usually...
the same sandwich patterns.
Yes.
All right. When you make a PB&J, peanut butter has to be on the bottom.
Yep.
Yes.
Because if the peanut butter's on the top, it's weird. It's not the same.
Right.
You know what?
Although
Oh my God.
I once tried peanut butter on the top and the bottom.
Ooh, how's that?
It didn't turn out well.
That doesn't seem great.
Wait, what's this?
What?
What did you say for your sandwich there?
I said if there were 3 pieces of cheese, you can bet your ass wouldn't be on top, but that throws ratios off.
But yeah, with the peanut butter and jam, if you put peanut butter on the outside, on the top and the bottom, and then jam in the middle, it just like swooshes out, and it just gets everywhere. Because there's nothing for it to grip onto, and it slides out of the sandwich.
Would you believe that I've never had a complete PB&J until I was a teenager?
Oh,
I mean,
late teenager. It's when I was younger,
strange, but not unheard of.
When I was younger, I could only have. Well, I haven't had together a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I haven't had one until I was almost an adult. And then, because when I was a kid, I would eat jelly on one piece of bread and then peanut butter on the other. I could never combine them.
Well, welcome to the Game Podcast. That's Geeks Actually Making Entertainment Podcast, where we, a bunch of gamers, talk about sandwiches and video games, and we're all about making entertainment.
Holy ball bags, we're live.
Yay.
How's it going, guys?
Hey.
So,
Good.
I only got an okay from one person, and then I got a delayed response from a second, and I didn't get anything from the third. So I feel like we're going on the right track for a great podcast.
Yes. We are.
No. Maybe.
Well, I believe, Mr. Frost, this is the first podcast that you've graced on the prisons with.
Uh-huh.
And we have another newbie to the podcast here. How is it that you would like the folks to pronounce your name?
Anonymous.
All right, so today we have myself, Spen, we got Zeo down below, we got Frost just sitting on the top there, and we've got Anonymous just kind of like rubbing himself down in the middle there.
Yeah, you can call me, you can say it Tolus.
Tolus.
Yep.
Tolus, like toll and less.
Like you have toes?
So it's like...
No, you don't.
So it's like... toll
You have toes
less.
and then less.
So there was a toll, but then not as much of it, so that's why we're kind of okay to have you around.
Ooh.
Yeah, what can I say? I'm cheap.
Yeah, that was really bad. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I still not as bad as Neopony.
All right, so, I hate you. All right, Tolus, what games have you been playing this week?
I've actually been spending a lot of time because my internet went out, so I couldn't play anything that went online.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. That must have been brutal.
Actually, no, because I had a bunch of stuff saved into my Steam library, and the one that I tried out this time was Phoning Home.
Phoning Home. What is that? I don't think I've heard of that.
Neither had I. I just saw the name there, and so I was like, all right, we're going in blind. And actually, a very pretty game about a couple of robots that are stranded on an alien world, and you have to help them survive and escape.
Oh, that's is that the one where the robot kind of looks like Oh, from that movie.
Wall-E?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I have seen that game then. Isn't that like a bit of a exploration adventure, a bit of puzzle?
Mostly exploration.
Oh, okay.
Not so much puzzle. Or if there is puzzle, I haven't found that part yet. Basically, you got one robot that can go anywhere and do just about everything, and you got another one that's a ball on wheels that can shoot stuff when you tell it to.
Oh, okay, so then the one on...
very good at navigating, so you got to carry it everywhere.
Oh, nice. At least you can carry it.
Most of the time, you don't have to. That's what's nice.
Oh, that's even better then.
But like, there's insects all over this place that are giant. Butterflies as big as Volkswagens.
Really?
Liner. It's ridiculous.
I'm gonna have to check this out now, because I think I actually have that in my Steam library.
I'll tell you this: it's not very exciting, but it is interesting.
Oh. I don't have it in my Steam library. I have it on my wish list,
staple of
though.
all of Spen's games.
Other than that, I'm playing No Man's Sky, but then I always play No Man's Sky.
Yeah. Although we can't complain about that.
No.
Not anymore.
A little partial.
Well, what about you, Frost? What kind of games have you been playing this week?
I haven't played any games this week.
You haven't played any games this week.
And you call yourself a gamer.
Why did we even bring you on here? This is the most important question that we ask every podcast, and now you've ruined it.
Yeah,
Good job,
okay,
Frost.
well, the last game I played that I really wanted.
All right, we'll give you that. We'll let that one slide. Go for it.
Okay, the last game I played that isn't really a mainstream game, I think, is Life is Strange.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty mainstream.
How'd you like it?
Oh,
I think.
Is it actually
It's wonderful.
I would say with the hipsters.
mainstream with the hipsters? Is that actually mainstream then?
Given the fact that I don't keep track of these things and I've heard about it, yeah, it's kind of mainstream.
Yeah, I guess so.
But you were saying you enjoyed it?
Yeah, it was wonderful. I really liked it. The story was nice.
Nice. Don't give us any spoilers. I still haven't played it yet.
Okay.
I think in the end it's revealed that life is in fact strange.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dang it!
is.
you.
God dang it! Ruined the game for all of us.
I can't. I don't even have words to explain how furious I am.
Can't
with
be
you now.
confirmed. It can't be confirmed. You know, it could be that the message was intended the opposite way, and I'm totally off.
Life is normal.
completely normal. Yeah.
Life is normal.
So what was it that drew you to this game?
Just the fact that it's not like a Call of Duty game or really action.
Yes.
Are you
Well,
usually a
it
big
is-
action person then?
Yeah, I used to play a lot of Call of Duty and those types of games, and I thought this game would have been a nice change. Like, just like almost a point and click.
Oh, okay.
Not really.
Well, aren't there a bunch of kind of like quick time events that happen, or more so you just gotta make decisions on the fly?
Yeah, it's not like Until Dawn. There's not really quick time events. It's more of just because you can rewind time in the game, so don't really have to worry that much.
It's stylized more like a Telltale's game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a narrative with multiple options.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you? So I'm assuming this has expanded your horizon. Then you've seen that there's a whole other world out there between shooting people and not.
Yes, absolutely.
There's more.
There are
to
games where you don't shoot people.
Yeah.
There's actually a game that exists entirely based on that premise. You've probably heard of Undertale.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. I haven't played that one, but wasn't that one where you just have to? There's no kill. Like, I don't think you ever really killed anybody in the game. It was all just going through these weird, strange, almost like mini game type things instead of battles.
Well, technically, there's 3 ways of going through it. You can kill randomly, you can kill absolutely everything, or you can kill nothing. And all 3 of them will get you to a different ending.
Oh. Can you do a mix of both?
Yeah, and that gets you the neutral ending.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's like either all or nothing. You're either a monster that kills every encounter, or you're neutral, or you haven't killed anybody, and that's actually the arguably best ending.
Still a better ending than Mass Effect 3.
I liked it after the update. That's
You
just
shouldn't have to fix an ending with an update.
you shouldn't have to fix a game after launch either.
That's true, but that's a regular occurrence now. Although, to be fair, the only thing that stopped them from doing that before was not being able to update it.
That's true.
So, I mean, if they had the ability to do it before, then we would have seen this kind of stuff a lot earlier. So I don't think there's much we could have done about that. It was inevitable. Almost as inevitable as Frost's discovery of other things besides shoot and run.
Pretty saturated. He could live an entire lifetime of just shooting games.
He could. There are a lot of them, and a lot of really good ones too.
I mean, they develop them in like what, 2 weeks nowadays? Just copy paste asset. They're all the same.
Well, I've been waiting to ask this one. I already know the answer. I'm assuming everybody already knows the answer to from last podcast. But Zeo, what is it that you've been playing this week?
Well, Spen, I'm glad you asked.
Because this is essentially the theme of the podcast.
I have been playing Spider-Man, and I love it.
How is it? I heard it wasn't too good. It was actually worse than the worst Spider-Man game of all time, which is Spider-Man 2 for the PlayStation 2.
Well, if we're going by that logic, then yes, it is. But no, whoever told you that is a complete liar. It is so good. I would actually say it is the best Spider-Man game we've had to date.
Oh, really?
Yes, because going back to try to replay Spider-Man 2, it's not that great.
I don't know, man.
It's pretty repetitive. No, this game's fantastic. I've loved every minute of it. I think what makes this game so great is, one, it's not an origin story, and it assumes that the audience knows who Spider-Man is and kind of just throws you in the middle of his life after he's been Spider-Man for a while. And they do a really good job at keeping characters consistent, but creating a fresh story in their own universe, which I really like.
Oh, okay.
So they took a lot of liberties to change a lot of lore for characters, but they kept their characteristics and their drive made sense, and it works really well in this universe they've crafted.
Nice. Yeah, that's what I've been getting from a couple other friends as well, although I rarely hear from them because they're too busy playing Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, I would be playing right now if it were for you, so thanks, Ben.
Well, I hear even there was the limited edition or the special edition Spider-Man bundle you could get for the new, I think it was it the new Xbox, or did PlayStation have it as well? Or was it just PlayStation? I don't remember.
It's just PlayStation. So the game's made by Insomniac Games, and they are an exclusive PlayStation company.
Okay, because the console for it looks sexy.
Yeah, I tried to get one, but it was already sold out by the time I had the option.
Well, I thought it sold out pretty darn quickly. Like, all of the pre-orders were already done in the first couple weeks, weren't they?
First few hours.
First few, really?
Yeah, because I tried to get one literally day one.
Oh, wow.
I was like, I must buy this. And then it was already sold out. I'm like, well, never mind.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. You have my deepest condolences.
It's all right. I shouldn't buy another PS4. I have enough.
So, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but, well, first of all, it looks like you can actually swim in this Spider-Man game.
Yes! If I remember correctly, this is the first Spider-Man game you can swim in the water and not die.
Well, I would suggest then, if you get the chance, to head down to, where was it? There is a river in the game, the Hudson River. That's where it is.
The Hudson River, where there are people on a boat and you get real close and they look like PS2 monsters.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here, I'm going to throw this out down there in the podcast chat for you guys there. If you guys want to check it out. It looks
ridiculous.
Amazing.
It's freaking hilarious. It's like if you were playing GoldenEye.
I mean, realistically, how many people are actually going to jump out there and swim out to the boat? Obviously,
anybody who has played a Spider-Man game.
That would be me.
But, I mean, realistically, when you're swinging around in the city doing your own thing, you're not going to go up to the boat. You're not going to see the model. It's not needed. It's like that level of what do they call it? Like LOD, level of detail?
Yeah.
Where it's, I mean, it's not, I mean, obviously here, it just looks so stupid. But, I was understandable.
So
you got to save those polygons.
Oh, that's so great. They got to cut corners somehow to let it fit on the console.
I don't know. That one in particular is terrifying. It looks like a Donald Trump intimate doll that someone dyed the hair on.
It kind of does.
I see that.
Oh, it's awesome. Have the two of you played Spider-Man yet?
Unfortunately, no. This somehow managed to escape my radar.
I don't know how. It's all Zeo's been talking about for the last
What?
little while.
Yeah, I have no idea how it got past your radar. It's Spider-Man. He's only the greatest hero of all time.
I am slightly ashamed, only slightly, because I just found out about you guys a couple of weeks ago. I am not caught up on the podcast.
Well, you know
That's
what?
okay. Don't start watching them until the last one that just came out. Before this one.
But is that the only good one?
Yes.
I don't even know if it's the only, compared to the others, yes, it's the only good one. We're getting better, you know? We're figuring things out.
We're trying. We're trying.
Interesting people.
Here's my question for you, though, Zeo. Have you noticed the little musical touch that they added into the game?
Musical touch. Are
So,
you referring...
when you're perching up on a rooftop or a ledge, it starts you off in complete silence.
Right.
Then when you jump into the air and you start swinging from building to building, the music actually swells, so it like weaves in and out as you start swinging and stopping.
You know,
That's
thinking
something.
about it, I think
It's like one of those little touches where I only found out about it because I read an article on it, so then I went and watched some of the videos of it, and it's like that little added effect that really makes you feel like a hero and like you're part of a movie.
I can see that a lot because it would definitely have a huge impact because now that I think about it, I often will perch and then just jump off and dive almost to the ground and start swinging.
Yeah.
And like you do get this very surreal, amazing feeling.
Yeah, that's part of the reason they were able to do that is just the little musical touch there.
Oh, it's so good. Like this, I can't express how good this game is. Like the reason it's so good is because when you're swinging city, it feels fantastic. Like it feels natural. It's fast paced, but not too fast. Like because Amazing Spider-Man game and the Amazing Spider-Man 2 tried to streamline web swinging, and you could like shoot place to place. And this kind of has a similar thing, but theirs you just fly and you get there way too fast. As this, it feels more of a natural progression where web swinging is not slow like in the older games, but it's not too fast where you can't appreciate going by something.
Yeah, like it's beautiful. I could just watch people swing around in the game, and that's good enough for me.
I'm not gonna lie, my first achievements were just swinging around achievements in this game, just because I would go past the goal I'm supposed to go. I'm like, I'll catch it on the next block, and I'll turn around. And just because I enjoy swinging through buildings, and like you'll find little parts where there would be one big building, and then it'll split off into like two separate buildings, and so like you tried to swing in between them and time it perfectly, so you would have like this perfect swinging momentum. I just have a lot of these little moments where I'll find little obstacles to where I can just swing through or swing around or underneath to try to time my webbing perfect. It's the little things I do that
nice.
You just feel really cool when you can do it.
Yeah. Zeo is soon going to be an acrobatic Spider-Man genius.
Oh, God, I would, yes. I mean, in the game, I time these perfect.
When the video games finally make it to the Olympics, you'll be able to go in for Spider-Man swinging.
Yes. Yes, I would love to do that. I literally play games that have like swinging mechanics just so I can feel like Spider-Man.
So you're really hoping they come out with the Tarzan game, though.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I want to see him put it in VR.
That would be dope. That would be super cool.
I just imagined that in my head, and I got a little bit of goosebumps.
Yeah, if only we can get to that point, and then
It's
I'll put a fan in front of me so it feels like I'm actually swinging.
So, did you hear that Fortnite's revenue only rose by 2%? I believe it was in July, or is it August?
Okay, they make that sound like a terrible number, but in comparison, when there's like 3 million people playing a game, 2% is a huge ass number.
I know. There were so many articles that were like, 2%, is this the end of Fortnite? There was so many. It was like the Fortnite's apocalypse had finally come. And because I'm always looking for different news for different stuff that could be interesting stories here on the podcast. And I've basically had to weed through so many of Fortnite the End stories that it's ridiculous. Pretty much is maybe it's reaching its plateau, or maybe it's just had its first little kind of slowdown before they continues to take off. Because I mean, they're putting a lot of work into the game, and there's
They
always
do.
new updates, always new things going on. So it's almost always a fresh take coming
Right,
into
and
the game.
that's a very smart way to do it. I mean, I do think personally, Fortnite is a fad game. I think it'll be popular for a few years and then it'll fade, like a lot of games.
That's very possible.
But I'm not knocking what they've done, what they've accomplished of the game. I do think what they do is really smart with their seasons, and then changing the map every season I think is very smart. It keeps it fresh and interesting. So they've taken a really good approach, and I think that would definitely lengthen Fortnite's lifespan. But ultimately, because of how big Fortnite was, it exploded the Battle Royale genre, that I think it would cause it to die quicker than most games like in the past.
Okay, it's very possible.
And there's all...
I don't know. It's hard to know for sure. I mean, if anybody's
Yeah.
listened to any of the podcasts before, they would know Zeo's definitely not a Fortnite fan.
I'm just a man in a sea of bias.
Well, because
I'm
they
with
took
you.
his baby away from him.
That's true.
Frost,
I'm with
you've
you.
probably
Fortnite
played
is
Fortnite.
overrated.
I have not played
You
Fortnite.
haven't. My whole
for
image
you,
of you is
Frost.
ruined.
Yes.
Your image has gone up in my eyes, Frost.
Come on, he said it earlier. He just plays cover shooters. There's
That's
nothing
true.
like that in Fortnite.
That's true. It's like an over the shoulder shooter. It's way different.
Yeah.
And you have to build stuff. That's a lot of extra effort.
Yeah. That's
Well,
too
it
much.
does look fun. It's just that the type of game it is, I just don't like the feel of it, I guess.
Well, you made that comment before about the game you liked probably wasn't too mainstream. So my guess is you're usually the kind of guy where it's like, that's too mainstream for me, and that's why you're avoiding Fortnite.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all about them puzzle games.
See, that makes sense. The name too for us. It's a very hipster kind of name.
Yeah, bro. You gotta get hippie up in here, you know?
Tell me this: is your first name Jack?
No, it is not. I am not in that Rise of the Guardians movie back in 2013.
I see what you were doing there.
I like that movie.
Zeo, that's not a terrible pun, but
I
it's
don't
not a bad one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's enough that we can kind of just like shrug it off and carry on with the rest of our lives.
In my
Yeah,
eyes, Pun Neo is still better.
No. Did you guys ever play the game Wildstar?
Nope.
I'm familiar with it, but I've never played.
Well, because Wildstar launched back in I think it was 2014. It was kind of I mean, every MMO for a while there was introducing its so-called like brand new mechanics that changed MMOs as they are. But this one's actually shutting down.
Oh no, why?
They're just bringing it down, you know. Well, I mean, when it came out, World of Warcraft was pretty big. There were a lot of MMOs that were pretty big at the time.
You're right.
It was kind of a tough market to get in there. So after its first year of being out, it went free to play, and then a year later, it was up on Steam. And I mean, the peak player count on Steam was 5,000. So it was only a matter of time.
Yeah, it's a little rough numbers though.
Which I mean, it kind of sucks. I tried it out a little bit, and I really enjoyed it. But I think that was also... When did Guild Wars 2 come out? It's got to have been close to around the same time.
Yeah.
A decade ago, I think.
Oh, no, it can't be... Guild Wars 2 can't be that old.
That's
It's much older
I'm
than
gonna guess it's like
Wildstar.
6 or 7 years.
Alright, Googling now.
All right.
it's got to be older than that because
Guild
Guild Wars 8, and it
Wars.
came out before.
Creation.
No, you got to look at
because
Guild
they-
Wars 2. If you look at the first one. that
Oh,
one's gonna
okay.
be
Guild
way-
Wars 2.
Yeah.
I
Come on,
remember this
Zeo.
because the idiot who married my ex-wife was all about that game, and it came out
Guild
before
Wars
we got it.
2 release date.
Oh man, I'm probably way off then.
Damn it, where's the wiki page?
It's not that
There it is.
difficult. You just Google it and it tells you like in Google.
No, it didn't. I put down Guild Wars 2 release date. Hold on.
Zeo, I'm disappointed in you.
I'm looking. Give me a
You
break.
had one
I'm
job.
working on it. I'm working on it.
2012.
Came out in 2012.
Wow, that
Yeah.
was like 16 years ago.
Yeah.
No, it's not. That was only 6 years ago.
Oh yes.
16.
All right, I was wrong. Hooray!
I live in the future.
Yes. I will
Oh,
hold that above
dang.
your head forever. I was right.
Uh-oh. You don't want Spen to be right.
Yeah, because I think yeah, that's pretty close to around the same time. Well, I mean, 2 years is a bit different, but that would explain. I mean, there was a lot of great MMOs that came out around that time, and I think if WildStar came out either a little earlier or a little later, it might have survived a little better. Because it was really cool, really well done.
I never played it, so I always liked the artwork of it, and I was like, if I get a PC one day, I'll try this game.
I think that one of the things that really struggled with is PvP, though. That was never, at least from what I saw, it wasn't done as good as it could have been.
I never understood PvP in MMOs
Why not?
Because MMOs, it's kind of like a number grind style. Like, all MMOs is like, hey, we have abilities, but it's who hits harder kind of thing. So I don't know. Maybe I'm viewing it.
I'm pretty sure you're viewing it wrong, and that's why you're wrong.
No, I'm with you on this one. Once you hit a certain point, I mean, it's just who happens to luck out and get the better gear is the one who's going to win any of those PvP matches, and that.
A lot of the stuff in PvP too isn't to do with the gear. Like, it all like scales you down to like the same kind of stats. Like, not like to the
lately.
Well, yeah, I guess lately. I don't know how it was back then. I was more of a PvE kind of guy.
Oh, back in my day, Sonny, when the internet came in. There was none of these fancy scaling stats or anything like that. It was just what you had is what you had, and you either lived or you died.
Oh, well, thankfully it's a little different now then. I'm okay with that.
Then again, there's also creative use of buffs. I think that would make a significant difference.
Yes.
Either way, if I play an MMO, it's got to be with friends.
Hold the awkward silence. Just accept it, embrace it. Feels good, doesn't it? Oh, Frost.
Good job.
Yes.
Awkward enough for you?
So, what would you guys think of the idea where let's say, what's one of your favorite games you've played before? Let's go, Frost. What's your favorite game you've ever played?
Destiny.
Now imagine Destiny, but all of the enemies have been modded out of the game.
So, No Man's Sky, but with less exploration.
Yeah, it's
So
basically
Mass
No
Effect?
Man's Sky.
So there's a group of modders. I think they've actually been going around for a long time. I only recently heard about this, but they go around and they remove the enemies from the games to create this like stress-free experience. Like they've done some of the most more noteworthy games they've done are things like Dark Souls, which seems kind of weird and strange to think of it without any enemies, but it kind of changes the whole experience of the game, where it becomes more of like an exploration type thing. You can go around and like, it's more of like a going around collecting lore. If you haven't seen any of the videos for it, it seems really strange at first, but it's like a whole different take. I mean, there's obviously some games that work a lot better for it. One of the big ones that was talked about a bunch was Mirror's Edge. Taking the enemies out of that, and it just becomes like this really grand,
running around parkouring. Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be super cool.
That sounds fun.
So I thought that was kind of. I haven't heard of anything about that till recently. So there's a lot of different mods for games. There's a group of modders that goes around, just their sole purpose is to remove all of the enemies out of games. There was what is it? You know the Alien games? I think Alien Isolation. That's the new one that came out.
Oh yes.
I guess that was one where they weren't able to remove the alien from it, but they were able to like change part of its code or something so that it no longer became responsive. It just stood still and didn't move, which let you kind of go around and explore different parts of the station, which was there was a lot of stuff in there that, I mean, with the alien you wouldn't really get that much of a chance to look at things, and it's a pretty beautiful looking game.
Trying to think of games where that could work and then also not work. Like, just going straight to The Last of Us, maybe. That would work really well in The Last of Us. You can just explore the beauty. But that game kind of gives you moments to do that anyways. Mm-hmm. But could you imagine in Uncharted how that would work? It'd be Drake getting on a train and then the train randomly explodes.
Oh my god, that would... I'm gonna have to look that up now, see if they have that.
That would change the entire game. So it'd be less of Drake fighting a bunch of people to get to his goal, and more of like the universe is just against him.
Drake versus the universe. There you go, Zeo. There's your next series to play.
Yes, just me running around as Drake, and nothing happens except everything goes wrong.
I'm looking forward to it. This better be the next thing you work on.
Oh man!
And I want like a uncut edition where it's just.
Oh no! I'll just be rambling to myself a lot. There'll be a whole lot of nothing.
You're gonna get so lonely.
Yeah.
Just
you ever watch my streams? I just ramble.
Well, you do a fantastic job at it. If that makes you feel any better.
Thanks.
So I spent a little bit of time putting together this because Zeo is a big Spider-Man fan, and the new Spider-Man game came out. Sorry, Marvel's Spider-Man came out, and so I wanted to test his knowledge, see if he's truly the Spider-Man fan that he believes himself to be, and the two of you here are able to jump in and help him where he's going to definitely, I hope, need it.
Pull up your Wikipedia, boys.
No, that's cheating.
I've never cheated.
Class, please, pencils and paper only. Cell phones turned off, placed in the desk, and computer screens shut off. This is a test only for your knowledge that you've already learned. There will be no Google, no Yahoo, no anything such of the sort. Is that understood?
I have a Spider-Man wallpaper. Can I look at
what if I need a bathroom break?
No. You can pee in a cup.
Dang it.
Can I use your cup?
Quit looking at my answers, Frost.
Sorry, baby. Look pretty nice. Oh.
I didn't bring a
well-
pencil.
I've got a few questions. I got about, what is it, 11 or 12 questions here, so not a lot of them, but I worked hard to try and find some of the most obscure knowledge that you wouldn't be able to know.
Are all of them obscure, or do they like range from easy and get?
They range from whatever order I've put them in as I found them.
That's a fair answer.
Okay, let's. I'm just gonna randomly jump in here and pick one. So, which adaptation of Spider-Man is least liked by its fans?
2099.
Which adaptation of Spider-Man is least liked by its fans? Is this including is this comics, shows, movies?
This is any adaptation of Spider-Man.
Any adaptation. Okay, I'm gonna go with the Neil Patrick Harris Spider-Man where he was in college.
What?
Which was that? It
was on MTV.
Oh, that's what it was. No, actually.
Oh, dang it! Ultimate Spider-Man.
No, it's the 2010 Broadway musical of Spider-Man.
What? What?
I didn't know that
About that, man.
existed.
That's not even fair. I can't go to New York to watch that.
All right, so far that's 0%. Let me mark this down here. I'm gonna highlight it in red. Wrong.
I see where game you're playing, Spen. Next, you're gonna
Alright.
pull out Canadian Spider-Man. Don't even exist.
All right, so let's move on to the next one here. This one's a little easier for you. How long does it take for his web to disintegrate?
An hour or two, depending on which version.
Survey says correct. It only takes an hour for his web to disintegrate.
I remember that because in the cartoon he made a swing for a little girl once,
Yeah.
and he said it's going to go away in an hour or two.
But in Homecoming, he says 2 hours.
Does he?
Yes.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
Nah, it's alright. It's their own lore.
All right, so this one, there's a few different answers you could have for it. So, what Spider-Man was a part of what team besides the Avengers?
Does anybody else want to
X-Force.
try to go first?
I have no idea, man.
He was
You
a
can even
part
take
of
a guess.
He was
You
part
can
of the
take-
future. Go ahead.
No, never mind. Maybe something else. I was thinking of the something 6, which are the enemies of Spider-Man.
Nope, that's the Sinister Six.
Yeah, the Sinister Six.
Hang on.
So, Spider-Man was a part of the Future Foundation, which is an extension of the Fantastic Four after the Human Torch died.
Why am I thinking
He died? Chris Evans?
Yes.
Yes, yes, he did.
Oh,
All right, I'm impressed there. That was the more obscure one. That I'm proud of you, Zeo.
Thanks.
I also would have accepted. Technically, in recent comics, he did do some work with the X-Men, so I would have accepted X-Men as an answer. And he also temporarily joined the Outlaws, which consisted of Sandman, Puma, Prowler, and Rocket Racer. So the Outlaws also could have been an acceptable answer.
Wait a minute. I'm sure there's the Amazing Friends.
I'm pretty sure there's a couple other teams that
That's
he's
the
been a part of as well.
1960s, yeah.
All right, I'm going to mark that one down as a correct. So, all right, 2 for 3 so far. Not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's potentially a little bit more difficult one for you. How did Spider-Man almost put Marvel out of business?
Ooh.
wasn't it Ultimate? Was it Ultimate or Amazing? The one with Andrew Garfield.
No, that's not Marvel.
I'm going to
That's
step in
Sony
here right now
related.
and say no. That is incorrect.
Marvel! I forgot.
How did he almost put Marvel out of business?
Yeah.
I don't know that. That's semantics. I don't know, because I can't think of a comic line that was so bad. I mean, the only thing I could think of would be maybe the Clone Saga. That was a very disliked version of the comics.
Actually, survey says that is correct.
All right. Yeah.
I was afraid you were going to get that. So, panning from 1994 to 1996, the Clone Saga followed the ramifications of Spidey believing he was not the real Peter Parker and deciding to give up the mantle of Spider-Man. Throw in a confusing number of other clones, a pregnant Mary Jane, Portland, the mustachioed Judas Traveler, and a horribly conceived Lady Octopus, and what we're left with was one of the most reviled comic storylines in history.
Yeah, nobody liked it. It wasn't great. But it did spawn one of the best, one of the most favorite heroes.
Who was that?
Ben Reilly, Scarlet Spider.
Oh,
Damn it.
Who was that?
I have to give you a bonus point for that. I was actually going to ask that as a bonus question. Damn it.
I mean, there's two Scarlet Spiders if you want to give me another bonus question.
No.
Kane takes up the mantle after Ben Reilly dies.
All right, so we're going to jump on to the next question here. What was the inspiration behind Spider-Man's character?
Spider.
You would think, but that's actually incorrect.
He was a relatable teenager, and I think the inspiration, Stan Lee wrote him to model after an everyday man so kids can look up to someone.
I believe that's like kind of the gray area. That was a little bit that happened a little farther on, but I'm talking about the very first bit of inspiration that actually sparked the creation.
Oh, it was like costume. The original costume Spider-Man was like this god-awful yellow marketing thing. It wasn't designed to be like as successful as it was.
That
That
unfortunately is not the answer we are looking for.
Ah, damn.
You see, Stan Lee was sitting down and watching a fly on the wall. And he watched it stick to the wall and how it moved up and down. And he was like, you know what? I want a hero like that. And
Okay.
it started from there, and then eventually made its way. I think there was originally he was working on some sort of fly, and then there was another type of bug, and then it made its way over to a spider. And
Okay.
it's a fly on the side of the wall that led us to the Spider-Man we have today.
Oh. However, if you do look up the first Spider-Man costume, it's like this god-awful yellow. It's not great. It's really bad.
Well, a question kind of similar to this here. Or I guess not so much similar, but do you know what the very first spider-themed hero was before they had Spider-Man?
No. I'm just straight up no.
So, Journey into Mystery number 73 featured a household spider transformed by radioactive rays into a walking, talking man spider. It wasn't the most well-liked. It actually, I believe, died by the end of it was either that comic or the small series that it was running at that time.
You know,
no wonder
Spen,
it
I
died.
feel
They
like
called it
this
Man
is...
Spider instead of Spider.
Yeah, I
This
feel like
makes
this is cheating, because that wasn't Spider-Man related.
This
Yeah.
question was also considered a bonus point for you. So
Oh, okay.
unfortunately, you
Alright,
get
you're
that
lucky.
error.
Whatever.
That's okay. I'll forgive you later. So, we all know Spider-Man's parents died in a plane crash. But do we know, or I should ask, do the three of you know what it was that his parents actually did for work?
I believe it was, they're supposed to be SHIELD agents.
That is correct. But for a bonus point, do you know who it is that they ended up saving on one of their missions?
No.
Frost or Tolls? Do
I
you
want to
have...
say it's an Osborn.
No, it's actually a shirtless Wolverine.
Oh.
I believe Wolverine was one of the first people to actually thank Spider-Man's father.
Okay.
I could be
The
wrong.
only
Don't
person
ask me
I've
for
ever heard
sure.
of Wolverine thanking.
I mean, you're not doing too bad so far. I think you're pretty close to like 50%, which I guess is considered a passing grade. Actually, I think you're a little
thanks.
higher than that.
Thanks. Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. I'll tally these up later. I didn't
Alright.
didn't put them into the super fancy way of doing this. All right, so James Cameron almost made a Spider-Man movie with which famous actor?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
That is correct.
What the heck? He
But-
doesn't need us, bro.
But which famous actor was going to play Dr. Octopus?
Nicolas Cage. No,
No.
it's not it.
Close. He was in.
Harrison.
I believe he was supposed to be in.
He was supposed to be in... Are you talking about James Cameron? The movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage was supposed to be in... I don't know who's... Who's supposed to play...
Any guesses? Any wild guesses? This is actually an actor that played in a Batman movie.
Oh, Christian Bale.
Oh, wait a minute. Arnold.
Ah,
Michael Keaton?
what was that, Mr. Toll?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's correct.
What?
Bing, bing,
Really?
bing. Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger was going to play Dr. Octopus in this movie, and
God, I'm
James
so glad
Cameron
James
was actually
Cameron-
supposed to be making it R-rated.
Oh, God. I'm so glad James Cameron
At the
did not
beginning-
get this movie.
At the beginning of the movie, there was supposed to be a naughty scene with Spider-Man, and I don't remember which lady was supposed to be his love. In
I think that one still had MJ in it.
no, I don't think it was Mary Jane. It was. I think it starts with a
Gwen
G.
Stacy.
Yeah, Gwen Stacy. Don't quote me on that though. I could be wrong. It could have been Mary
I
Jane.
just pulled up the fan page and Robin Lively as Mary Jane Watson.
Ah, dang it! It was Mary Jane. I was wrong. That's one minus point for me.
Ooh, they had Electro.
Get wrecked, Spen.
That might have saved it. No, it wouldn't.
All right, which famous musician tried to buy Marvel so he could be Spider-Man, and why?
I know this. Do you guys know?
I want to say Michael Jackson.
It was Michael Jackson.
But do you know why?
Oh,
Because he wanted to be Spider-Man. He's tried to buy so many movies so he could be all the superhero.
Yeah, he went on a bit of a spree for that. But do you know why he wanted to be Spider-Man? This is for a
Because
bonus point. You still get the answer.
Spider-Man
correct.
was a troubled kid, and he felt...
All right, I'm
he
going to
was a
stop you
troubled
right
kid,
there.
relatable.
Oh, I thought you were going to take that a different direction.
No.
No, it's because Spider-Man's his favorite.
Oh, well, they're all
Oh,
his favorite.
that's-
He says that about
okay.
all of them.
Be a superhero.
I'm going to tell you, Spen, that is pure coincidence how I know that. I only recently did that because of one of my favorite podcasts,
Oh, nice.
The Weekly Planet.
I know of that podcast. You shared it with me.
I did, and he talks about that, actually, all the things that Michael Jackson tried to be a part of. It's nearly every single superhero movie you can imagine.
I know. It was when I was looking up stuff for this and I found out about that, they had a list of a whole bunch of other ones, and not even superhero movies, like other places and companies and stuff he's tried to buy.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, wow.
He's the guy who just wanted to be every main character possible.
That he did. I've got a bit of an easier question here for you. I'm going to start here. If Frost or Tolas is able to get this question right, I'll give you 2 points for it.
Oh, God.
But if only you're able to get it right, it's just a single point. All right. So the pressure's on. Zeo, you got to be quiet for this.
All right, I'll shut up.
How is it that Peter Parker was able to take pictures of Spider-Man so well? It's potentially a challenging question.
I mean, the only thing I've got is what was shown in some of the comics and movies is he mounted a camera using his webs.
Yeah.
Set him on a timer. But I have a funny feeling that that's not the answer that you're looking for.
That is not the answer I'm looking for. Zeo, do you know what the answer is?
He would put a clicker in his web shooters.
I've got here that it's a sensor that he had sewn into his suit.
Oh.
But, I mean, realistically, there were several different ways that he's done it.
There's like
Many different reiterations. However, it was a trick question. You all get it wrong. Just kidding. You guys actually got that one right. But not the proper sensor answers, so I'm only going to be able to give you all 1 point.
He used a giant mirror.
He took a selfie.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes so much more sense now.
That's how he got good pictures.
giant mirror.
He just had a high-speed camera recording the whole scene and then picked the best one.
Yeah.
He just took his GoPro with him everywhere.
All right, so
nowadays,
which one of Spider-Man's greatest enemies had a relationship with Gwen Stacy?
Oh, Venom.
I hate this.
No?
Venom is incorrect. Frost, do you have a guess on this?
Oh, damn it, no.
I don't.
I should point out this is a two-part question. So when you get the first part right, then we move on to the second part of the question.
Okay, I don't have a good guess, so I'm just gonna do a guess. The Shocker.
Nope. That is incorrect. Mr. Zeo, by the sounds of it, you know the answer.
The Green Goblin.
Not quite.
No, sure.
Norman
technically
Osborn. Yeah, it's Norman Osborn.
Norman
the Green
Osborn.
Goblin.
Do you know, I'm assuming you know the repercussions of what happened after this?
Yeah, she had a kid.
A kid?
Huh?
Multiple kids, okay?
It was
Jesus, look,
twins.
I hate the storyline. I hate the storyline.
How
I mean,
was he murdered?
It's kind of...
Retconned it. It was dumb, and it hurts the name of Gwen Stacy, and it was awful.
Well,
Bear
technically,
with
I
me
believe it's not like a legitimate thing. I think it's kind of like an alternate timeline of what could have happened is how it's kind of
No,
shown.
it's canon.
Oh, it is canon?
Bear with me here. I'm not familiar with that aspect of the story. How was she killed and then had two kids?
Yeah.
Okay, so how the story goes, Gwen goes to London for like a year. And then when she comes back to reconcile with Peter, Green Goblin kidnaps her, throws her off the bridge, Peter webs her, she dies. Gets her neck snapped. But before that, while she was in London, apparently Norman Osborn had a relationship. She got pregnant, had these kids, and then they grew super fast because of stupid bullshit they came up.
Norman's
Comic book
advanced blood.
Yeah. It's dumb. It really hurts the name of Gwen Stacy and the purpose of why she died and everything, and I can't believe they allowed it to.
Well, I mean, she did keep it a secret from Spider-Man as well, because she didn't want Spider-Man to be hurt by it. She didn't want it to affect
that doesn't make
him.
it better.
What makes it better, though, is the twins advanced at like 2 to 3 times the normal age, so they became adults, and then they tried to attack Spider-Man, and then that's when he found out, when he made out with one of the twins that actually looked very similar to Gwen Stacy.
Gwen Stacy.
Oh man, I knew you'd love this one.
I hate that one so much.
Guess what? That's a correct answer, so it's still partially good for you.
Thanks, yay.
All right, well,
Gwen Stacy was one of my favorite characters, and she's a critical part of Spider-Man's motivations. And I felt like that cheapens everything about her by making her a shittier person.
I wouldn't call her a shittier person.
The way they portray it,
Love trumps all, and that's the true message of this story?
The true message is it's okay to go over, get pregnant, abandon the kids so that you don't tell, so your boyfriend doesn't find out.
Yes. I don't know if she abandoned him, because he had a lot of money, so it's fine.
Yeah, because
That's how it works.
how parenting works.
Love trumps all, and if you got money, you're fine.
All right, let's move
And
on.
yet she goes back to Peter Parker, the broke photographer.
I've only got, I believe, 2 more questions left here. How are you feeling?
They better be better.
I feel great.
Actually,
Well,
you've gotten
they're
most of
not
them
those.
right. I'm a little disappointed. I didn't think you were as good of a Spider-Man fan as you said you were.
What part of like I'm a huge Spider-Man fan do you not?
I don't know. I was just part of me was hoping that I could just take that from you.
I mean, there are a few facts that you don't know about me that involve Spider-Man. So
Well, we're gonna be asking about that in a couple minutes here. So I got
And
my
I'll say this: I thought I was pretty familiar with Spider-Man. You're catching me off guard. Close to the.
excellent.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this one will put you back off of guard. That was really lame. What is Spider-Man? What is Spider-Man's favorite baseball team?
The LA Lakers.
that's not even fair. I don't even know baseball team. I'm gonna go with Giants.
That is incorrect.
Damn it.
We've gotten the LA Lakers, which is a basketball team from Frost.
Next to the basketball team too. Red Sox.
No, it's. Before I say the answer, Toast, do you have
I do not.
a guess? It is the Mets. I don't
Damn it,
remember the
Mets.
exact reason why, but he grew up, I believe, in the city of the Mets.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't really know much about baseball.
Grew up
so.
in Queens. I don't know anything about baseball. I don't even know if the Giants is actually a baseball team.
All that's important is that I got to put a nice little W beside it for wrong.
Thanks.
Ooh.
And the final question here, I believe. Let me double check. This one, by the sounds of it's going to be easy one. You're not going to have any difficulty with this one.
Well.
Pausing for dramatic.
Waiting.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Boom.
I thought the call ended or something.
Yeah, no, I left. Decided I needed a peanut butter and jam sandwich. But with the peanut butter on the bottom and the jam on the top. Very important.
That's right.
What year was Spider-Man's first appearance? And for a bonus point, which comic was it in?
Spider-Man comic number 1.
No.
Unfortunately, Frost is a wrong answer.
I knew this was
Yay.
What you got, Tolas?
Amazing fantasy something.
I
Close.
think he's Googling it. That's what's taking
He's
him so long.
close. Yeah, hold on. Don't,
You know I'm faster at Google than that.
don't
but-
mind
See,
the clicking.
See, but I also know you're smarter than that, and that's why you're slowing down your responses if you're actually thinking it out.
No, I'm trying to remember if it was like 15 or 16.
Pick one.
I want to say 15.
It is 15.
That it is. And what year?
Fuck if I know. 69?
1962.
1962 in Amazing Fantasy number 15.
I was in the right decade.
That
You were.
is also correct. Damn it, you did way better than I had hoped you would.
Thanks. I'm glad you wanted me to be a failure and not a true Spider-Man fan.
All right,
I
so you
feel-
got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 12 questions, but then you also got 2 bonus points, right? So that's 100%!
Whoa.
Congratulations. Congratulations, you are, I'm going to say 40% more of a Spider-Man fan than I thought I'd be able to get you with.
Oh, okay. Good. I'm glad.
I thought you'd only get 60%.
You want me to drop some fun Spider-Man knowledge on you?
Yeah, I do.
How do you define fun?
Well, I mean, it just little facts about Spider-Man you probably didn't know.
Okay, we'll tell you if it's fun.
Okay. Well, one of them isn't as fun, but I feel like it's a good story people should know.
Is it his radioactive blood?
No.
And have he killed one of his girlfriends because of it?
That happened.
That was an alternate timeline.
They're all alternate timelines.
She died from cancer because of
It
him.
wasn't on the main 616 universe. But yeah, she did die because of his semen.
Which is weird because I didn't know he was a sailor. Woo!
Weak.
But no, there's a lot of iterations of Spider-Man. One is Miles Morales, naturally. But Miles Morales was spawned because in the Ultimate Universe, which was the second most popular Spider-Man series in the comics, Spider-Man Peter Parker died. And Miles Morales is bit by the same spider shortly after him and decided to take up the mantle.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh, should we talk about the Into the Spider-Verse movie?
Yeah, and that's what Into the Spider-Verse is. It features Miles Morales. However, changing it to where Peter Parker didn't die and he's a much older man than in the Ultimate comics. Because in the Ultimates, he was only 16 when he died, and Miles was 13 when he became Spider-Man.
Oh, wow. Well, wasn't Spider-Man like the first teenage superhero that wasn't a sidekick?
Yes, he was. He was the first teenage superhero at 15 years old. Although, if you look at the drawings, he looks like a 30-year-old man.
I'm going to have to look this up now.
Because they weren't good at drawing kids back then.
Oh, wow. I mean...
Does not look like a 15-year-old, right?
I don't think he's going to need any ID for the bar.
Hey, can you drop that in the chat so we can see?
I just closed it.
I mean, he's just like a 30-year-old nerdy man. Like, everybody in the comics look like they're adults. And they, even though he becomes an adult pretty quickly in the comics and goes to college, his look doesn't change until pretty much almost the 80s and 90s when the artist changed.
Wait, 30-year-old nerdy man. He looked like me?
Yeah.
He did.
That's why everyone loved Tobey Maguire, because he was a 30-year-old man pretending to be a high schooler.
Yes, absolutely.
Or a 30-year-old high schooler pretending to be a man.
Well, wasn't there some stuff about that movie that people said was really dumb, but it actually went back to some of the original Spider-Man stuff, like the web coming out of his actual, like him producing his own web?
Sam Raimi actually made that up himself.
Oh.
Spider-Man has always created his own web. It's mechanical web shooters, and when the Raimi movies came out, Sam Raimi made that up for himself so he didn't have to deal with mechanical web shooters. And people believed that to be part of his abilities, and the comics even adapted it for a little while to where he had a web organically.
Interesting.
But they went back because a lot of people felt like it cheapened one of his abilities of being just a genius.
Well, yeah, because that was one of the things, well, one of the many things about him. He's got a lot of different crazy powers, really. Where he's like super smart, and he's got great, regenerative powers. Not as good as some of the others, like Wolverine or...
Right, not as good as Wolverine, but yeah, he does heal extremely fast. He has super strength, which varies based off of certain comics.
And
movies.
He actually got the web power from the DNA. He'd be shooting it out of his butt.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he just part of his power was he grew little anuses on the
on his wrist.
What? That's not good for the children, mate.
Well, that's why he wears the suit. It covers it up.
Use the scientific name. It's fine.
That's true.
So would it be anus eye then for his?
You can't pluralize everything by adding an I.
Yeah, you can. That's what makes it really terribly funny.
That's true. I agree. The last thing, one thing I liked about Spider-Man, there was an issue, I think, late 90s, early 2000s, where it was going through, a child molestation phase in the world, and then they had a comic book where Spider-Man was meeting up with the boy who just got, molested by an uncle.
Oh, yeah.
And then Spider-Man, come to find out, Spider-Man also was molested when he was a young boy. And so it made him more of a role model for kids at that point as well, who had issues with that.
Okay. That's kind of cool because it could help some people through that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's one of the best reasons why I love Spider-Man. So not because of that fact, but because he is the most relatable character in any comic ever. He's just an everyday guy who cares about people. And
that's true.
Why Homecoming is so great is because he does focus on...
He focuses on what?
The little guy in life. He even though he's been on some teams, he's never fully committed to a team because...
Well, I thought he did kind of fully commit to the... Didn't he fully commit to the Avengers in the comics when they went to the... Iron Man's side? Because he actually, like, took off his mask.
That was Civil War.
Or Civil War.
He committed to one side or the other because all heroes have to choose a side. But he committed on Tony Stark's side because he admired Tony Stark and everything. But he ended up switching back to Cap's side later on in that series.
Oh,
and then
okay.
they retconned the idea that he showed his identity.
Well, I don't... Didn't they... Well, no, because they had... Oh, what's the magician's name?
Mysterio?
Doctor Strange. Didn't he use his powers to, like, make everybody not remember?
Nope. So, okay, one, I think him revealing his identity complete out of character moment, and I think they wrote that just to get views. And two, no, how it happened is Aunt May towards the end of Civil War gets shot and is in the hospital, and she's dying. And Peter's having a hard time dealing with the death, and he's been in a long time relationship with Jane, and I believe they're married at this point. And what happens is they pray together, and then Mephisto, who is basically Marvel's equivalent of the devil.
Mephisto.
I mean, that's his name, but he's Marvel's equivalent of the devil, and he's like, I can bring Aunt May back at a price. And they're like, what price is that? And he's like, I want you guys to be separated. Because apparently that's the most important thing in the devil's head.
Well, because didn't he then show them an image of
Their daughter. Their unborn daughter, yeah. And they agreed to it, but Mary Jane has one condition. Everybody forgets Spider-Man's identity. And he agrees. And so that happened, and it kind of reset Spider-Man's entire storyline.
Oh, wow.
It was called like A New Day or something like that.
Comic books are batshit.
Yep, that they are. They really are. I personally, and I'm probably the minority, personally think they should just absolutely 100% reboot the entire universe. They like comics always do reboots like every few years, but they don't do complete reboots to where everything is wiped and they start 100% fresh, brand new, telling new origins.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, but at the same time, I think you can create more original content that way and not be dragged down by 50, 60 years of lore.
Yeah, but isn't that what Disney tried to do with Star Wars, or is doing with Star Wars, and fans were outraged?
But non-fans are loving it.
Right, I mean, because you don't have all this catching up on you have to do. And yeah, people will be outraged. I'm not saying they won't, but I ultimately think story-wise, Marvel would do better. I think it would kind of revitalize comics a little bit. I mean, like I said, Spider-Man's history is just one example of so many bad decisions just to get people to read a comic. You know, they've killed him like 3 times. They've Mary Jane here on and off again all the time, tease people that relationship, you know, and they have to go to his past and retcon something because they want to tell a story this way. I think it's just better if they reboot it all, start fresh, have him grow up again, learn how to do everything.
Okay, now I can see your point from that.
You can rewrite a lot of stuff without making things dumb.
You know, now that I think about it, way back when I was a kid, there was a series on the WB. I don't even know if they call it that anymore.
Wasn't it like
Beyond.
WBX or IX or something?
I don't know. It changes depending on what town you're in. But anyway, the show, Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's basically a reimagining of Batman. Yes, they had the guy inherit the mantle from the original Batman, so it's kind of a continuation, but it was also a completely different setting.
Yeah.
Oh man, because didn't they show like ancient old Batman and then like ancient old Superman at some point in it too?
Yes. Yeah. They did.
But it was an awesome show.
It was.
I think
really
that's
good.
something that could be done with a good reboot.
Right.
Yeah, you'd alienate some of the existing fan base, but let's
they'll
be
die
honest here. That's a
eventually.
very small percentage of the population compared to how many you could gain in with new stuff.
It's true. I mean, that's what the Ultimate Universe originally did. It was created like in back early 2000s or maybe the beginning of 2000. It was supposed to be a retelling of the comic book universe, and mostly it was done really well. At least Spider-Man's line was done really well. And over the course of 10 years, he told They told a lot of original, similar stories, but from a new perspective. Like, they also did the Clone Saga in the Ultimate Comics, but much better than the 616 universe did.
That is.
I don't want to know what you guys are zipping or unzipping.
Well, at that point, we're pretty much out of time for the podcast. Man, that.
Oh, no.
I mean, usually we talk about video games, but I thought Spider-Man wasn't a bad thing to go about. You know, the game's out, everybody's excited about it. Everybody loves Spider-Man. Zeo loves it more than I actually thought he did. And,
Yeah.
Let me tell you how I love it more. Sorry, 1 minute. So,
all right,
I love
timing it.
Spidey, let me
So
count
much.
the ways.
I have 3 Spider-Man costumes for myself, like custom-made Spider-Man costumes. I also have my wedding band that says Spider-Man on it, and I own every Spider-Man movie, and I've read every Spider-Man comic.
But do you have a Spider-Man tattoo?
No, I don't get tattooed.
Undedicated piece of.
If I were to get a tattoo, though, it would be a Spider-Man.
Just
What's
get like
that?
2 little bite marks on your wrist.
Is that where you got? Where did the spider bite him?
On his wrist.
Oh.
No, not on his wrist, on the top of his hand.
Oh, that's right. Did you know he had 4 arms at one, or 4 extra arms at one point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was weird.
In the
There.
cartoon, he actually transformed into a giant man spider.
Yeah, that was another time too.
Dream.
That also happened in the comics. There's like
Did that
so many
really happen,
different...
or was it a fever dream? I was never sure on.
It really happens.
Hey, what about the one time where? Oh, just kidding. That's 60 seconds. It's gone. Our minutes. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for joining us for the podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. We got myself, we got Frost, we got Zeo, we got Talus. We're not really sure yet. He knows for sure somewhere inside. So,
Olus.
Tolus.
Two loss.
Tulas.
Isn't that like a German song? Like, Du Los.
Du.
Oh, that's
Lust.